Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. How's it going? Um, I haven't really made a video like this for a little while, I suppose. Tomorrow's gonna be a good day. At least this is gonna be a good weekend, I think, in general. Um, really good. So, you know, like, I have all these videos out that you guys can watch. I think they're all really good. Some of them are spectacular. Some of them are good. Some of them are okay. It's up to you guys. But I know which ones I'm gonna try to do more of course. So I might have some original thoughts, some new thoughts. Might not be so original, but I have some things on my mind that might help you guys out on some level regarding nutrition and shopping. If you're like me, um, you're looking for probably when you go out shopping, you're looking for food that you're going to at least enjoy somewhat. It's going to be okay to fairly, yeah, good stuff, right? Probably not the most amazing meal that you're ever going to have every single meal, right? Probably not that. And probably not something really nasty because you just want to throw that out or not eat it or whatever. Okay. And you're looking at getting a wide variety of nutrients. If you're a little bit deficient in a few of them, some of them, sometimes it's not a big deal. It just depends on what the nutrient is, and there are times when you'll be higher in some nutrients than other times. So these things tend to balance out a little bit. But the more, I think, the healthier that we are, the more that we'll just kind of be in tune with what we'll need to be eating uh, to stay healthy. And I mean this not just in terms of can we run for a while? Like, are we physically in good shape? And I mean, there's mental energy, and there's all kinds of things like our skin health and all kinds of stuff, right? Uh, Emotional stuff and everything. So, we want to eat something pretty tasty, fairly, a little bit, somewhat. We're looking at getting what we need nutrient wise, and we're also looking at some not spending a ton, and probably also we're looking at some meals being less of a big chore to get ready. If there's anything beyond that, well, some of you guys are again probably looking even more than I am at cost effectiveness. Yeah, so I have some additional thoughts here for you guys. If so just stay with me, right? So as I mentioned before, I have watched many, many, many videos from Dr. Furman, Dr. Berg, Dr. Glidden, Dr. Hyman, uh, uh, the world's healthiest foods I've basically memorized. Uh, Plus, I'm sure there's other folks I know about, Mark Sisson and stuff. I keep watching stuff all the time. Uh, yeah, there's other guys that keep popping up here. Some new guys in there. So what I've always tried to do is I try to take the best of what they're all saying and I tried to incorporate it into what I'm doing. It tends to work out pretty well. Uh, okay, so first off, regardless of how you guys are doing or how I'm doing, I think I'm doing pretty good. I could, I'll be doing better even in the future, I'm sure. But regardless of how you're doing, um, I want you just for a moment to consider what you can afford. Really, truly afford. Okay. How much of your budget's going to food? And it should be, in my opinion, it should be a fair amount. It shouldn't be super skimpy, but it shouldn't be you're having filet mignon and you know, I don't know, duck eggs every single day or something. I don't know. So, okay. In my opinion, the best stores to be regularly going to now, at least in the United States, are you want to balance it out between something like Trader Joe's, one shopping trip, something like Whole Foods, maybe another shopping trip, and then a premium grocery store every once in a while, as well as the following: farmers markets more in the summer, and then something like QFC perhaps that has regular non or Fred Meyer's like this too. Some folks, well, places that have toilet paper and toothbrushes and stuff like that. So yeah, looking at some kind of general, regular, say grocery store, Trader Joe's, something like Trader Joe's. It's a little cheaper. Something kind of like Whole Foods in that ballpark, like or Sprouts or Whole Foods, and then something more premium that you don't go to all the time, but you go to it on occasion, and maybe just forget the best stuff. For me, it's PCC Natural Markets. It can be very pricey. So but they have great quality stuff there, of course. But you want to mix, and you can even mix in a few other types of grocery stores, like specialty stores, if you're like going for Indian spices or whatever, Mexican spices, cumin or whatever it is. But you want to you want to go for a variety. All these kinds of stores have their pros and cons, and I don't believe in having a membership like in Costco, but it's fine if you guys do. I just Costco makes sense for families, big families that need to have you buy in bulk for the whole family. If you guys have just a few kids, husband, wife, or if you're single or whatever it is, if it's you don't have a huge family, there's really no point in going to Costco, in my opinion, or Sam's Club, my personal opinion. Why? I don't know. I guess you can get some things in bulk that you can last for forever, but just doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. So, and then of course there's like Asian stores too. It's great to kind of throw in there if you like Asian food. So that all being said, and I've again a lot of knowledge here, folks. If you guys just ask me questions about stuff in the comments, I could definitely answer any questions you guys have about a lot of stuff. But again, as I mentioned this before in some of my other videos, one of the best websites you can ever go to is the 100 Healthiest Foods website with George Mateljan. It's just, oh, it's just a great, just right there. You just go to the 100 Healthiest Foods, and you pick out your favorite foods. You pick out foods that complement each other well, and you build your shopping list based, at least as far as foods go, based on what's on that page. And if there are things that you're buying that aren't on that list, that's okay. You just need to know what those other foods really have in them, for good or for ill, especially for ill. So let's get into this here. Vegetables have not very many calories. So when you eat vegetables, I personally don't think it's realistic to eat between 30 to 60% of your calories every day from vegetables. So therefore, I'm not a nutritarian. However, I do believe in the healthfulness of vegetables. So I think it's great to try to approach that level somewhat. But most of us are not going to eat that way unless we really love salad. I truly do mean love. And maybe the older we get, the more we'll go that way. But vegetables are probably, along with water, the most life-sustaining things we can consume. Life-sustaining meaning, well, it's vegetables and beans, but vegetables will lengthen the length. You'll live longer. You will live longer if you have a greater percentage of your diet from vegetables. it's a given that they age your body the least, or they have a lot of things about them that actually prolong your life, along with things like, again, like spices and herbs and things. Spices, herbs, vegetables, um, great for you. So you should be including some of those things in your diet very much on a regular basis, like every day. If you skip a day, you definitely need some the next day. The great thing about this kind of food, again, with vegetables, is they are cheap. Uh, the most expensive vegetables I know of are things like asparagus, mushrooms, um, occasionally other things too. But it's really kind of, most vegetables are very affordable. In all the grocery stores I've mentioned, the bottom rung tends to have vegetables that don't last very long. But really, when we talk, vegetables are medicine. We should eat our vegetables rather than have to buy expensive medications and things. And same thing with herbs and spices. We got to include those. Include those with our meat or soups and stews. Anything, cook with those things. Okay, so we should be getting probably some fruit as well, but it's easy to overdo it. So a fruit should be the dessert, and it should be primarily berries. And berries are more expensive. Therefore, uh, still get them, but maybe emphasize berries still over most other kinds of fruits. And you don't really need a whole lot. You have a few handfuls. It's a good idea to treat fruit kind of like you treat nuts. And if anything, you could probably even do nuts a little more, more protein, whatever, more minerals, but fats and things. But yeah, fruit and nuts are like great things to snack on. And fruit's also a great dessert. Berries and nuts, seeds, it's hard to go wrong with those things. Berries, nuts, seeds, just on the road. Boom, boom, boom. You know, and vegetables and like fish are like, what's for dinner, that sort of thing. A little bit, if you. So we want to have some beans. They're really, beans are really healthy. Absolutely. In vegetables and beans, and even, nuts can be a little pricey, but again, it's not too much to add. I think to expect. We should all be able to afford almonds and peanuts and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and things like that. Pistachios and cashews get a little pricey, and we could probably, but we should be able to at least afford some of that stuff. Definitely blueberries, strawberries, all that stuff. All plant foods are fairly affordable, I think. And then we get to, I'm getting there. We're getting to eggs and poultry and other stuff like meat. When it comes to that stuff, I really think our priorities should still be fish, poultry, and eggs, with meat being a nice thing to treat yourself to here and there. Um, Personally, I've had some frustration with grass-fed beef because it just dries out so quickly. So it's double-edged sword. I just think meat is like, again, it's like, you had a great week or you did something, you accomplished something, treat yourself to a steak. Sure. But most meals should, if you're going to include some kind of animal protein, it should be egg, it should be fish, it should maybe, some chicken, turkey. It should be more of that stuff. And then some meals should be beans and, a little bit of rice if you want. I still think we eat too many grains. And if we were to be much more active on the whole, I think that'd be okay to have grains and other stuff too. Um, okay, so that's this all being said. A lot of times, here's kind of the maybe some of the stuff I've noticed about certain foods that kind of have picked up my energy. We just need energy during the day. Um, we need healthier pick-me-ups. Caffeine is bad for us, right? It really is hard to how no, let me phrase it. It is so it does wonders for us, I think. When if we get tired, we can just pop in some cashews, peanuts, and raspberries and blueberries or something like that. Again, the nuts, the seeds, and the berries combination, or maybe like kiwi fruit or whatever. That stuff is the ticket. That is the ticket for sustained energy throughout the day. Um, my dad, my brother like oatmeal a lot. I think oatmeal's fine. I just think that it's easy to. Well, it depends, but it just not all grains are created equal. The more fiber that a grain has, the more fiber that a grain has, and if it doesn't have gluten, and maybe the lower the glycemic index, it's a good idea to maybe include more of that grain in your diet regularly, I think. So that's the general gist with grains. Um, okay, so when we have whole foods, avocado, whatever it is, it's a whole food, avocado, again, raspberries, blueberries, cherries, green beans and cauliflower, broccoli, and all that stuff. All the stuff on the One Healthy Foods list, plus other ones that we can afford that are whole foods. If we're eating that stuff, we're not going to have we're going to build up over time all these resistances against all kinds of things that can really get us down, um, and sap our energy. And we need energy, and we want to live long, healthy lives. But we need healthy sources of energy, and we need to be able to eat within our budget. So again, it's kind of like plant foods are still the best way to go to save money and to get a lot of fiber and vitamins, minerals, bioflavonoids, all that stuff. We, it, you know, you'll probably it's really you'll probably it was sorry. It'll be easier to get more of your calories from fruit, nuts, especially nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds definitely, and also even beans if you're really fond of beans and grains. Of course, it's any of those types of plant foods. It's going to be easier than vegetables to get more of. But vegetables are again the most life sustaining, along with uh, stuff like ginger and garlic and stuff. Those herbs and spices and vegetables, they're the best. And if and it should this is how it should be. If it's only a certain percentage of our diet that should come from animal protein. And again, I don't think dairy is a good idea, but I myself, um, I'll still have vanilla ice cream, on occasion, and I'll have whipped cream on that, which doesn't have hardly any sugar. It's just mostly fat. And then, yeah, I'll also have ghee butter. Ghee butter is fine too. It's pricey, so I don't really use it all the time. We're both just get in trouble um, if we're watching our sugar and stuff. And we're trying to exercise. We're both supposed to get in trouble, I think, might have to do with more of the price range for again red meat and fish. Even though fish is so healthy for you, I think. But there are things that even can get even pricier than that stuff, and so I think it's really important if we're going to a premium store like in this like PCC is a good example of this where you can really spend a lot of money. It's best not to go to that kind of store all the time, unless you're Bill Gates and you really want to spend a lot of money on that stuff. It's a bad idea to always buy microwavable meals still. It's just going to limit your what you can do, Um, and it's, look, I'm looking at the people my age, thereabouts. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we all get old. It doesn't matter. But I'm looking at how different people are taking care of themselves, or I could do that some more, on Facebook or whatever. And I'm not trying to be judgmental. and there's all kinds of things that play into this. It's genetics and all kinds of stuff. But it just so happens that the people that tend to have the most energy throughout their entire lives, right? They look younger than they really are. Man, they are just drinking water and just it's herbal tea and water, and I don't know, and then they're having their salad and they're not eating too much. A little bit of sunflower seeds, all kinds of different greens in that salad, dark greens, all kinds of stuff. A little bit of berries, and a little bit of fish, a little bit of egg. Uh, not mountains of it. They're probably not bodybuilders, and they try to have a low stress life. So it's like there's always a question of how you manage stress, and they're probably pretty healthy in terms of they're trying to have meaningful relationships in their life. Um, it's probably more unhealthy to be a hermit, right? So these people that they have their heads on well, right? Whether they're more introverted or they're more extroverted, um, the relationships they have are very meaningful, even if they're very few of them or whatever. They it's a big part of their life, and but a lot of that whole area of health gets into a different terrain. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people are noticing that are doing great. Um, Try to um, always they always try to be optimistic. They try to be uh, socially. They try to view humanity in a positive way. I'll put it that way. That's the best way of putting it. Is that they'll want to see people. They'll prefer to see people more in a positive way rather than a negative way. Okay, so then there's things like exercise things, of course, and then there's things like sleep and regular sleep. There's things like keeping their stress down. They just enjoy their life. They're finding a lot of purpose in life. They're moving forward. They're maturing. Um, they're getting, they're growing. They're not just stagnant or regressing. And um, all this plays into health. I do believe in the holistic thing. But again, they're not, they might have some yogurt, sure, but they're not going to have a whole cheese wheel. They might, if anybody does that, that's going to be, they'll be good to go for a whole week. Maybe just nibble on some salad after that or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, like people, a lot of folks like this that are living very long lives, they don't eat mountains of food. The Hulkster, he's huge. He's ripped. I, I would be amazed if he lived past 90. It's just not going to happen. But he's one of the strongest guys out there. No one can doubt how strong he is. But all that muscle, all that meat's just aging him. It's better to be Bruce Lee. It's better to be not as super strong, but very, lean and strong for your size and all that stuff. But some people would say Bruce Lee goes too hard. So I've heard that some people believe more that just being, well, anyway, lower stress or whatever, but a little bit less high strung perhaps, I don't know. But okay, so let's go back to some of the basics I'm talking about here. You want to go to a cheap store to get your non-foods, and maybe a few basics, things that are just cheap. You want to buy it cheap, they're healthy. But if you do bananas, that's something like that. By all means, don't just. It's not a good idea to keep getting sandwiches, folks. At least for the white bread, get the sprouted bread. I don't like sprouted bread. I just think sandwiches aren't the healthiest stuff for you. But if you're going to eat sandwiches, might as well get just 100% stone ground whole wheat bread, or get some Ezekiel bread or some sprouted bread, and then healthy stuff in the middle of that bread. Okay, so so go to one of those stores once every few months. go to Trader Joe's or something like that. Aldi's, keep the prices low. They have like the good snacks and everything. Go to a medium priced store like Sprouts or Whole Foods. Get some of the higher quality produce and fish and and meat and stuff and eggs. Then occasionally go to a really high quality store and just watch how much you spend. They have the highest quality, fresh food. They should. If they don't, they're ripping people off, and they'll probably, Um, and then and then you go to your specialty store sometimes, Asian, whatever, and that's the way to do it. And look for the plant foods, um, primarily, and then with I just recommend skipping dairy unless you love dairy. Get your dairy, but have all the animal proteins be something that's kind of like um, well, what's the best way of putting this? The highlight of meals shouldn't always be the beef. Oh, that's the best way of putting it. If the highlight of your meals is something other than red meat, you're probably doing great, as long as you're watching your sugar, perhaps. And no juice, that sort of thing. But if you find that the highlight of your meal is something like dairy or especially meat, there's probably something to change in that regard. Um, yeah. What I found too, myself personally speaking, I don't think that the nutritarian diet is the best one. I honestly think that it's probably more like what Dr. Hyman sometimes suggests. Uh, but he'd be even inclined to think that Dr. Berg is onto something when he's talking about how great eggs can be for you. But it's just, um, if you're talking about some of the best stuff, it's up to what you guys like. But man, I mean, again, if you just get it, avocados can be very iffy in terms of their quality. So I don't always recommend buying avocados. But if every avocado we ever had was just amazing, then yeah, I'd say go for it. But so many of those little splotches and things in avocado. I think avocados are kind of spent overdone. But eat eggs, organic, pasteurized eggs, pasteurized eggs. You get some of those eggs. You get some greens, some salady stuff. Uh, some cooked greens, whatever your favorite cooked greens are, um, and some salad greens. Get a little bit of onion, green onion and stuff. Again, those eggs, a little bit of fillet fish, the more of the a little bit of salmon, uh, trout, mackerel, cod. Um, yeah, and then um, some lean poultry here and there, and then beans, nuts and seeds, um, a little bit of berries. I mean, you're set. And then if you are weightlifting, you're at packing a muscle, definitely you can get some more beans and quinoa and rice a little bit if you want, and eggs, and chicken, whatever. A little bit more is fine, but at a certain point, it's just probably not needed. Okay. Hopefully you guys are doing great. By the way, I'm wrapping up this video in a second. Um, I wish to mention one other thing. If you're really if you're really watching every penny, it's a really good idea. I think to buy beans and eat beans, along with rice, and try to get some egg in there as well. That's probably one of the best things you could do, along with getting your salad greens. Um, yeah. All right. You guys take care. I'll talk to you soon. Leave me thoughts and comments below. Okay, catch you guys later.